Hi there, everyone. Welcome to The Daily Gardener. I'm your host, Jennifer Ebling. It's May 24th. Ralph Waldo Emerson once wrote, "But these young scholars love not the flower they pluck, and know it not, and all their botany is Latin names." There's more to gardening than nomenclature, and more than nomenclature, there's actually growing and knowing plants. Here's today's brevities. It's the birthday of Carl Linnaeus, born today in 1707. It is said he liked flowers as a young child, and whenever he was upset, he was given a flower to soothe him. On May 1st, 1753, the publication of his masterpiece, Species Plantarumchanged, changed plant taxonomy forever. His naming system is called binomial nomenclature. Binomial means two names, which in the naming game includes the plant's genus, which is capitalized, and the specific epithet, which is all lowercase and italicized. If you have trouble remembering taxonomy, I like to think of it as the given name and surname of a person, but in reverse order. It was Linnaeus himself who said, "God created, Linnaeus ordered." There are so many stories about Linnaeus, but I thought I'd share a few of the more obscure stories about him and his work on his birthday. First, Linnaeus's friend Anders Celsius created the Centigrade thermometer with boiling water at 0 degrees and freezing at 100. 3 years later, it was Linnaeus who reversed the scale. Second, there is a memorable story about the genus Commelina. Linnaeus named the genus after the 3 Commelin brothers, 2 of whom achieved greatness in botany and 1 who died young. Linnaeus wrote, "Commelina has 3 petals, 2 of which are showy, where the 3rd is not conspicuous." Next time you see Commelina communis or the Asiatic Dayflower with 2 large blue petals and 1 very small white petal, you can think of the Commelins and Linnaeus's kind memorialization of the 3 brothers. Another fun story about Linnaeus involved a trip he took to Lapland, where he was given a raccoon named Shoop. Linnaeus realized that he could use his new naming system to name animals as well as plants. So he first classified raccoons as Ursus loder, the washing bear. Fascinated by Shoop's interactions with his habitat, Linnaeus observed that his students would often find themselves pestered relentlessly by Shoop if they carried food like raisins or nuts in their pockets. Linnaeus found himself in a number of predicaments. Once he was forced to leave Hamburg after he revealed that the mayor's prized stuffed 7-headed hydra was just a bunch of snake carcasses sewn to a weasel carcass. The national flower of Sweden is the Linnea borealis, or the twinflower. Linn-ee-ah is the genus, borealis is the species, and it references where it is found. Borealis means northern. Twinflower belongs to the honeysuckle family. It's a sweet, tiny plant offering a faint scent of vanilla. One side note worth mentioning is how Linnaeus's collection ended up in London. When Linnaeus died in 1778, his belongings were sold. Joseph Banks, the president of the Linnean Society, acted quickly, buying everything of horticultural value. When the King of Sweden realized that Linnaeus's legacy was no longer in Sweden, he sent a fast Navy ship in pursuit. But it was too late. Banks' precious cargo had made it back to London. Thus, Linnaeus's collection is in London at the Linnean Society's Burlington House. In Unearthed Words, the Swedish author August Strindberg said, Linnaeus was in reality a poet who happened to become a naturalist. And Samuel Taylor Coleridge noted the symmetry in taxonomy and poetry, saying taxonomy was the best words in the best order. Linnaeus was a deeply religious man, and he often used parallelism in his writing, a method used often in the Bible. Here's a little text from Linnaeus on the difference between humans and various animals. You'll hear his use of parallelism clearly. We have not the strength of the elephant, but our intelligence has tamed the strongest of them. We have not the speed of the hare, but our genius has learned to capture the speediest of them. We have not the front feet to dig through earth like the mole, but our minds have devised ways to bore through hard bedrock. Today's book recommendation is Linnaeus, The Man and His Work. This is a nice little resource on Linnaeus, published in 1983. You can get used copies on Amazon with the link in the show notes for under $7. For today's garden chore, once the danger of frost has passed, you can start to plant rhizomes like cannas. If this is your first time trying them, rhizomes should be placed horizontally in the soil and then spaced 1 to 2 feet apart. Next year, try getting them started earlier in pots. Finally, here's something sweet to revive the little botanic spark in your heart. When Linnaeus was 25 years old, he set out to explore the Lapland, and he came back with tales of a Scandinavia few people knew existed. He had suffered hunger, mosquitoes, freezing temperatures, and had almost died twice, first from a rock slide and second from a gunshot. Through it all, Linnaeus fell in love with Lapland. He even brought home a traditional costume as a souvenir. 5 years later, an obscure German painter named Martin Hoffmann painted Linnaeus's portrait. And guess what he chose to wear? His Lapland costume, of course. In Hoffmann's Linnaeus, a 30-year-old Linnaeus is seen wearing boots made of reindeer skin. He's also wearing an early version of a tool belt. Suspended from it is the magical drum, a needle to make nets, a snuff box, a cartridge box, and a knife. And in his right hand, he holds his favorite plant, the Twinflower, Linnea borealis. Thanks for listening to The Daily Gardener, and remember, for a happy, healthy life, garden every day. The Daily Gardener is produced weekdays in lovely Maple Grove, Minnesota. You can find complete show notes over at thedailygardener.org, and be sure to share the show with your garden friends. You can find The Daily Gardener on all your favorite social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest, and of course, Facebook. While you're over at Facebook, don't forget to join the Daily Gardener community. Just search for these 3 words, Daily Gardener Community. The group will pop right up, and then request to join. Finally, I want to thank my team at Podfly Productions, where my fabulous editor is Eric Begay. Have a great day in the garden, and we'll see you tomorrow.